Hello and welcome to Mike's Garage. If you've already subscribed to our channel, thank you very much. If you haven't, please do, and when you do, be sure and tap on the little notification bell so you'll be notified every time we put up another video. And we do appreciate all of the likes, the little like button, thank you. Okay, we were working on this pan in the last video, and I was ready to put another lifter block in there until I realized I'd forgotten to bring a magnet with me, so I went and borrowed one from Kenny, and we're ready to go. So let me show these assemblies again, just for the fun of it. Now this is what we started with. This is a standard hydraulic lifter. This for a Panhhead, 1953 or newer, right on up to 1965. And then they used the same kind of lifters in a in a shovel head up to 1984. Now, what happens is the hydraulic lifters would fail, or somebody wanted solid lifters rather than hydraulics, so they would pull these units out. These go right into that lifter. That's what makes it a hydraulic lifter. This is the hydraulic unit, as produced by Harley. This is an aftermarket reproduction of a genuine Harley hydraulic valve lifter. There's other stuff on the market for them, aftermarket lifters, that we didn't have in the old days. But it's very important when you install these lifters that the holes point inward. In other words, there's a hole in that one, and there's a hole in this one, and they have to be pointing each other. These lifters will slide in either way, but that's the way they need to be. Now, someone had put solid adapters in here, which is this and this, to turn these into solid lifters. Well, not exactly what the customer would like at this point. He wants hydraulic lifters on a stock cam, and he shall have them. So what I need to do is put the gasket on here, again realizing that that hole right there has to line up, and that same hole has to line up in the crankcase of the motor. So what I'm going to do is put this magnet on these lifters and set them right into the motor. And there it is. So now we have 4 screws, and I'm going to mention this again. I mention it every time I can. Most 1/4 inch bolts, that's a bolt that's a 1/4 inch in diameter, are either 1/4 20 or 1/4 28. These are 1/4 24, and Harley used them. That's an old-time thing. It was done in a lot of old Fords, I remember. Used 1/4 24 in them. Can't remember what for. I know I found some in my first car, which was a Model A. But these are 1/4 24 that hold the cam cover on, 1/4 24 on the lifter blocks. And even the shovel heads used them, I think, up to, I want to say, 1973. So it's just something you need to check and be aware of so that you don't go cross-threading those things in. So again, please notice I'm starting these by hand. And I knock that magnet off because I don't need it there anymore. Get this back one in here. That's going to be fun to reach. At home I have all my little doodads for doing all these crazy little things. And when I'm not home, don't know how to do them. Well, that one's fitting rather well. I like that a lot. No complaints here. Now you'll notice I didn't put any sealant on those lifter block gaskets. Those are very fancy sandwiched gaskets that have whatever material it is they are made out of with metal sandwiched in them. They do not require any sealant. Do I think they're better than any other? They might be. They're pretty nice stuff, but I don't really know for sure. Usually when I do lifter block gaskets, which are just usually some form of paper, I spray them with copper coat, which is nice, except that also makes them real hard to remove when you want to do it. They become permanent. So we've got this one almost in there. In case anyone is wondering, I did go over the insides of this thing with assembly lube. And we just about got that one. The guys are being really nice, keeping it quiet in here while we do this, and I really appreciate it, but they are trying to work. Of course, cameraman Mike forgot to turn his phone off, so that was that. I think we do our routine a little better at home. But this is really nice here. It's okay. Okay, so there's all 4 of those torqued down. And now that they are, let's see, I can put those last 2 hydraulic units in. Excuse me. Let me get me a little bit of assembly lube on them. And then we will crank the motor over before we go to start it. We will crank the motor over to fill those up with oil. And they will. And they'll be great. Okay. There they are. Okay, now if we just keep moving right along here, we can get some stuff done. Let's put some corks in these things. We're going to put some push rods in them. Well, there's corks. It seems to me I reached up in here and pulled one out of here. I did. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one. Seems to me I have some pretty nice corks here. It's funny, you buy different corks from different people and you say, you know, they'll be a little thicker now. If I push this nice thick one in here, it'll stay there, it won't fall out. Just makes it a little easier to work. Makes it nice. He said, now I don't have to remember whether or not I put them in here. I know all 4 of them are in there. Or they will be as soon as I get this one in. Okay, there's all 4 of them. Now the pushrod tubes, I put new ones in them. Everything's cleaned up and ready to go. So, let's go on to the pushrods themselves. Now the original pushrods were all 4 the same length. On aftermarket ones, they usually do a little better job, which means the front exhaust, which is the longest distance, let me show where that distance is, from here to here. And now, that makes for some pretty interesting geometry and a pretty hard operating valve train. But the hot rodders figured out a long time ago, and especially on solid lifters, sometimes you'd have 3 different sizes in there. The longest one would be the front exhaust. The next to the longest one would be the rear exhaust. And the 2 identical shorter ones would be in the intakes right here. Well, that's all well and good, but what we needed was a kind of a stock setup here, and it appears as though we have it, except the front one is long, and that's nice. We'll see whether or not it fits in there well. So let's try right now. Oh, okay, the front exhaust is already all the way down, and the front intake is now all the way down, I believe. Yep, it is all the way down. I can feel it with my fingers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the front intake in first. Now, I've placed them that way on purpose. I don't know how many minutes. Okay, what we're going to do is get a couple of these set. And let's see, that was my intake. So we'll just push that right up in there. And we can just, I think, we can get that, yeah, have to get that lifter to squash down for us. Let's see, what do I have? Yeah, it's ready to squash down. If I can just do it with something. Let's see. Well, I'm going to have to rig up a tool to do that with, I think. Yep, that's what I'm going to have to do. Or I'll just get a big screwdriver and I will push that down because it'll collapse very easily. So what I'm going to do is I'll get a couple more push rods in here. And we'll get this done. I think what I'll do is I'll get them all 4 in here and then we'll adjust them. But let me get set up to do that and we'll do it real quick. So I'm going to end this video and we'll start another one and we'll bring it in real soon too, okay? So until then, I see you out on the road.